Welcome. This is the first video I'm doing trying to get better at drawing and bringing you along on the journey. Got my sketchbook. I'm going to be drawing in some red pencil and a blue pen. I'm going to try to edit this to where I'm showing you the picture that I'm looking at on Pinterest somewhere over here. We'll see how that goes. But it's gonna be this Batman that I'm seeing, and I thought it was a cool little sketch. So we're just gonna start. I'm looking for some big shapes right off the bat. Right off the bat. See what I did there? Seeing the shape of his body kind of looks like an upside down water droplet coming down into his legs at the bottom here. Looks like that red pencil is showing up well enough. That's good. Has little feet off to the side here, teeny feet. See, about part way up here we have his crotch, and it kind of goes up into his underwear. And legs are pretty simple here, just kind of these triangle shapes. All right, I don't want to get bogged down in the details yet. I'm looking for larger shapes. His cape kind of meets a little off center here. He's looking off to the right side in this image. And the cape comes out over his arms, which are over here, but I'm not going to draw the arms yet because that's not the largest shape that I see. And everything that I have looked up online keeps telling me to find the big shapes first, work big to small, big shapes down to some smaller shapes, and you can bounce back and forth. Obviously I have the big shape of the body, and I worked on the little shape of the legs. There's a little more detail in the legs with his boots, but we'll get into that later. So this cape comes down on either side and goes out a little bit further than his body because his arms. And his shoulders are a little bit lower than the top of this water drop shape. And they extend out a little bit further than the edge of the cape down lower. I'm just gonna put little spots here, little dots to mark where the points of his shoulders come to. I'm gonna draw a quick line all the way down here. It's a little bit curved. This is his arm coming down, and his hands are just about the length of his bat briefs here. So I'm gonna put a little mark down there so I know about how far down to go with his arm. I don't want to go all the way down because his hands stick out here. So from the shoulder line, kind of a little bendy line there. And then from the top of his body water drop here, I'm gonna go up, I'm guessing here, just about the top of his head. And obviously it's not gonna be an exact copy. It's not meant to be. I'm just trying to practice finding these shapes and get a little bit better at recognizing the shapes within a drawing and putting them down on the page. Now from his ears, the ears of his cowl down to his shoulder is a big curved line here. It's not exactly curved, but because his head is here, so his head comes out a little bit. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna draw this curved line. I'm gonna draw it as a curved line, just as a placeholder, so I can work from there. I can build out from here where his head is if I feel I want to. And it's kind of the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna come down here and curve out to his shoulder. Okay. I feel like I want to get his hands in here. Now I'm not going to go too detailed on the hands because, as you may know, hands are challenging, and we're just practicing here. So I'm gonna his fingers in this drawing are all spread out, but I'm just gonna draw the hand as one larger shape, most of the hand, and then a little shape here for the thumb. So I have the thumb, and then I have the rest of the fingers as one shape there. And I'll do something similar over here. Kind of come out, bring it back, representing the fingers, and then a little mark there for the thumb. And then his arm comes back up this way. It's looking pretty good. All right, what I want to do now is get the opening of his mouth, the opening in the cowl for his mouth. So he's looking off to the right, so the center of his face is right around here. So I'm going to come down to about here where I imagine his nose to be, where it kind of looks like his nose is. And his cowl goes up this way, goes up that way a bit, comes down quite a bit on that side. And then, oh, you know what, I'm taking this mark into consideration here, but I shouldn't because it is hidden in the drawing. So I feel like his cowl or his cape should come up a little bit further here. So I'm already making adjustments from where I started. I am drawing in a lighter color, so my marks aren't as permanent as they would be if, say, I was using just a pen. And I may try with a pen another time just to practice that. Go for the permanent mark, the more permanent mark, and just see how close I get. So his chin comes just above where his cape meets the center here, the center of his cape. All right, so this is the opening in the cowl for his mouth. And since I'm in here, and it seems like a pretty easy mark, there's his grimace. And got a couple small eyes here. I'm gonna go light on the eyes. We can darken those in a little bit with the pen later. All right, so we have our basic Batman shape. Recognizable as Batman. That's cool. I hope you can see that all right. I'm gonna come in down here. I'm gonna finish off his bat briefs. Just a mark here. The top of his briefs is also the bottom of his bat belt. So I'm going to draw another line up here representing the top of his belt. And then in the center is bat buckle. Just a square, another square on the inside, little bat buckle. Got a couple lines on either side here. All right, can't forget the you know what, since I got my eraser, I'm gonna erase the lower bit of the cape that I drew here so it's not in my way. In fact, I might erase the top part of the upside down water droplet I created just to clean it up a little bit. All right. So there's this cape on this side, his arm coming up here. Just kind of going over some of these lines, making sure I remember where I am. Let's put a little shape in here for the bat on his chest. We'll go in later and add some more detail to this, but this is about how large the bat symbol is on his chest there. I think what I want to do next is show the cape dropping down behind him here, because it looks funny without it. And I see, as I'm looking at the image, I see it's not symmetrical on either side, but you know, there are points that kind of round off. I see 3 points on this side of the leg, 1 point here, a couple points on the other side. So I'm just gonna wing this, get it? All right, so his cape wraps around his arm and then comes down here. So I'm gonna put the first point over here. Another point. Oh, and it looks like the other point there just going behind his leg. I'm not marking here, but I'm pretending like it's going back up here and it's coming down there. And then back down behind his other leg. Up here. Another point. And another point, and then back up behind his arm. All right, so we have our cape there at the bottom. Looking a lot like Batman. I'd like to get his gloves now. Gloves, just a little curved line here, and a couple little points coming off there. Same thing over here, a little curved line. And then, actually I'm gonna make that a little bit higher, a little curved line higher, and then a couple points coming off there. All right. Hey, that's, oh, wait, hold on, let's make a little mark for the top of his boots on his legs. And we got ourselves a Batman. All right, I think I'd like to, before I bring the pen in, shape out this bat symbol on his chest a little bit more. I'm going to erase a little bit this box that I created so I can use it as a guide without being distracted by the darker lines, so I can sort of see the outline of it here. And it's a pretty simple shape here. You got a point for one ear, a little bit of line for the top of the head, a point for the other ear. It's kind of all it is. And then it curves up to the wing, angles out on either side. Oh, this is a little bit lower than that side. I'm gonna bring this down a little bit further. It's not gonna be symmetrical, but that's not what this is about. We're just practicing. And obviously it looks like Batman. Doesn't matter if it's symmetrical, you can tell it's Batman. That's the goal here. And then I see 3 arcs. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so it goes 1, 2, 3, and then back over here. I want this to be in the center. So we're gonna go from the center out here and then up to the wing. All right, I'll do something similar on the other side. There, and then out to the wing. That's frickin' Batman. Look at that. Nice job. All right, now we're bringing in the pen. We'll darken up the lines a little bit, solidify what we've done, maybe color in the cowl and the boots and the briefs and the gloves just to make it a little beefier. All right, so let's go over this. Oh, scribble up here to make sure my pen's working all right. I'm gonna be slow and precise. It's a little wobbly, that's okay. Come Come down on this other side. Now, because he's looking off to this side a little bit, I am drawing the top line of his head crossing over this ear on this side. And what this is indicating to the viewer is that this ear is a bit further back. So there's that. I'm gonna draw his beady eyes in here. Lovely. Go around the opening in his cowl for his mouth. Get that scowl. Yeah, it's so serious. Onto his shoulders. I'm just gonna outline the cape here, I think. Not for any particular reason. I don't know why I did that. I could just as easily go all the way down to his hand here. Get those fingers, little thumb. Get this line for the inside of his arm. This little line for his glove. Get those spikies. I'm not following the spikies that I drew in the pencil exactly. They're pretty light even for me to see. So I'm just going over it where I think they are as best I can. Bring the cape down on this side. Match up the arm. The arm goes under the cape there. Come back over here. Draw this arm. Go around the hand. Get that thumb. The inside of the arm. Get his little glove. A couple little spikies coming off there. Let's get the lines for his body going all the way down to his feet. Come over on this side. Get his little feetsies in there. Go back up the leg. And then on this side, we're gonna go down the leg and then get his little feetsies. And the little top of his boots there. Let's do the bat symbol here. All right, I'm gonna draw it from right to left so I can see a little bit better, maybe do it all at once. Nice. All right, I'm gonna turn this a little bit, try to keep you still in frame. So I can do this line for his belt, the bottom part of his belt, top part of his briefs, and then we're gonna do the bottom of his briefs. Get the little bat buckle. A couple lines over here. A couple lines over there. Now we're gonna get the back of his cape. Coming down to a point. Up and over. Up and over. Going behind. Up and down. Up and down. Up and down, up and down, and up. And we got ourselves a Batman. All right, now I'm not super great at hatching, but we're gonna try to do some hatching to color in the bat a bit. I have to angle this just right because for my hatching, I like to use this angle for my hand. It's just a little bit easier, at least, the very least, because I have this camera in between me and the art here. So I'm gonna go a little bit lighter at first. So when we get some darker areas, we can push a little bit harder with the pen. We're doing some lighter stuff. I don't know, I think it's just kind of a commitment thing. I'm afraid of committing to a dark line. I'm still practicing with the hatching. I don't want to, make it look super ugly by going too dark too soon. So I'm just going to keep it light. I'm just going to put some lines in here. You have to be pretty patient when you're doing this stuff. It can be a little boring. It can be tempting to rush, and then maybe your lines don't look as good as you like. So I'm just trying to take my time, enjoy the process. Something I've learned, I had to learn as I have practiced drawing over the years, is when I see an amazing piece of art, something that has been really great line work, really neat colors, lots of colors, intricate detail. Those pieces of art were not created in 5 minutes. They were not created in 20 minutes. It sometimes takes hours to create some pieces. And if I'm learning and I'm practicing drawing a Batman and I try to bust it out in 5 minutes, who knows how wonky it could look. All right, now I'm seeing in this drawing that the cape here and his cowl seem to be slightly darker shaded than the cape that we can see through the background here. And also his gloves are darker than the cape that we can see through him here. And I think the reason they do that, well, at least for the gloves, is because the gloves are in front of the cape here. So we don't want everything to blend together. So you can tell that there's something in front of something else. So I'm gonna maybe go over the gloves a couple of times just to darken them up a little bit more than I plan on darkening the cape area. This one more time, just a little bit darker. I'm not pushing hard at all. You can already see that this is far darker than the cowl here. And in the image, the cowl is, this part of the cape and cowl is darker than this part of the cape. So what I think I want to do is I'm going to hatch this cape as dark as I did this, or as light as I did this, and then I'm gonna go over this part a little bit more. But first I'm gonna do his boots. I think the boots are about as dark as the gloves, so we'll go a little bit darker there. I'm a little bit out of the lines. That's not what this is about. It's still Batman. All right, oh, and his briefs are pretty light too. It looks like his briefs are as light as I want this part of the cape to be, so I'm just gonna go lightly over the briefs here, about as dark as I've done this area. All right, that looks good. Now we're gonna work on this cowl. This cowl is gonna be, gotta be patient. You got all these little ups and downs. You got 3 little areas. They're wonky shapes. It's not as a big shape like this, so we're just gonna be patient. Just gonna draw light lines, not in a rush, going over the edge there a little bit, that's fine. Go up into the armpit there. Okay, I'm happy with that. Just enjoying the journey. I'm drawing over his gloves there just a little bit. I wasn't trying to work around his thumb and his hand. I'm just drawing light lines, and this is darker. So if I draw through the thumb and the finger a little bit with a couple light lines, it's okay. It's not, you wouldn't even notice I did it if I didn't say anything. So this is looking great. I love this. Now I just want to darken up this area of the cape and cowl a little bit. Now, what I understand about hatching and cross hatching, hatching is just when you draw lines next to each other like this, and you can draw them lighter, you can draw them darker, what have you. And then cross hatching is you have a bunch of lines going one direction, then you have some lines going another direction, and then that overall makes the whole area a little bit darker. So I'm gonna try that with this. I don't know how it's gonna look, but these lines I drew going this way. So the second set of lines I think I'm gonna draw at this angle, but I'm gonna start over here. And we'll go in about as light as I made the first set of lines. Oh, these are long lines. It's a little bit more challenging. Okay, be patient. Keep breathing. Just the journey. So it's not as dark as the gloves, but it is looking a little darker than the back of his cape here a little bit. And then in this image, the bat symbol is not filled in. I think I'll just leave it like that. So there we go. We got this freaking Batman. Look at that. Ready to go out on the town and protect the citizens of Gotham. Well, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed drawing your Batman. If you drew along with me, I hope I can figure out how to get the bat image that I was looking at to pop up on this side of the screen. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.